Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Britton's Hangout Hour, episode, I think it's 24, 25. Can't keep count. I had a couple of these. Today, I'm here with Carlos and Yolanda from Storytoob on YouTube. How you guys doing?
You almost forgot that there, didn't you? You almost forgot. You almost forgot. I saw that hesitation. They're from that channel. Damn it.
How y'all doing today? I'd like to introduce yourselves.
You go first.
Oh God. I'm Yolanda. I'm not Carlos, shockingly.
What?
Thank you for having us. I don't know what else to say. You go.
I am Carlos, and also thanks for having us. We are from the channel Storytoob. We talk about stories on the tube, whatever that format may be.
That's
Not really branched out that much yet, though. We've covered mostly
books. Yeah. So we're a Booktube channel. Yeah, there's no point beating around the bush. We're a Booktube channel.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, I found you guys' channel. I think I found you guys on Alan's Discord or somewhere, like in that range.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, these guys have like a similar, or I have like 100-something subscribers. And you have like 300-something subscribers. So.
Yeah, we jumped
similar.
up significantly after that Alan video we did, because we had like 70 subscribers. Then we did that one Alan video, and people were like, "Oh, they seem pretty cool."
Yeah, there was a day where every time I checked our YouTube page, we had gone up by like 10 subscribers like every half an hour, and I was like, what the hell is happening? I was like, oh, Alan shared a video on the community tab.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah. And then after that, it just died, and now we're just hanging.
We've plateaued.
We're hanging in the abyss.
So, like, are you guys? This is gonna be a very silly question, probably, but like, are you guys like together? Are you like roommates?
Yes.
Cousins?
That's not a silly question.
Okay.
But yes. Yeah,
Okay.
we are.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wanted to be sure. And then you guys are like, idiot, we're together.
Don't make assumptions on the internet, Britton. That's a safe bet.
Okay, good. So, yeah, you guys, I found interesting channel because you guys cover books, but you also cover comics, and you cover like crime novels from Don Winslow, who I haven't read yet, but you know that's beside the point.
She will sell you on Don Winslow later. I'm sure she's prepared a pitch or whatever. But yeah, we know that you like comics and crime books as well. So I mean, we both read pretty broadly, and we kind of set out with the intention of doing that on YouTube. Of like, okay, let's start obviously a Booktube channel because we follow mostly Booktube channels, but I follow a lot of comics channels and I follow movie review channels. So like, if it's possible for me to branch out, nice.
Ah, cool.
Favorite comic right there.
I'm still catching up on Saga because I'm lazy. I'm also
Whereabouts are you in Saga?
I am at the point the time jumped and Elena just escaped from prison. Or not Elena, Hazel.
Yes.
No, you also cover. I think Yolanda covered Monstrous, which I have up there. I don't want to pull it out though.
I did. Yeah. Have you read any of it yet?
I read the first volume and I enjoyed it. I just need to get to the second one.
That's my problem.
Yeah, I think my experience was that it keeps getting better as obviously it's epic fantasy, and like I often have this with epic fantasy in any format, that it just gets better as you get more familiar with the world. So like I have it in the hardcovers, and by the time I got to, I don't know, like halfway through the first one, whatever issue that is, like 9 or 10 or something, I was really in it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I really like Punk as well, and like those visuals with that art was just amazing. Like the art really elevates the story
Yeah.
in that one.
I was
For
talking
sure.
to someone the other day about Monstrous. I don't remember who it was though. So
Cool. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a hugely popular one online. Like I don't see a lot of people talking about that one on YouTube, and I find it so funny that a lot of fantasy readers read a lot of like manga and stuff because it has a lot of fantasy, but
Yeah.
nobody's really, well, not nobody, but few people have read Monstrous.
Few
So-
have discovered Monstrous, but
I've tried to pitch it, but it was a very unpopular video, so.
oh yeah, nobody watched that video.
yeah, it's like all the like bigger like booktubers like they read like manga. And that's not like
Yeah.
that's not a bad thing. Like I've read some manga. Like I enjoy Monster quite a bit from.
I want to give manga a go. It's just never been. It's obviously like reading it from what is it, right to left, right to left, and then the art style has just never really grabbed me. I don't know, like big eyes and
Yeah, I
weird
know. I
expre-
get that. You may like Monster because the style's much more realistic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, Jimmy's reading that now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Monster,
Has read it.
or has read it. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, I'll absolutely try manga. I have the first deluxe of Berserk, which I bought
Over a year ago.
over a year ago based on a very impassioned recommendation video by Omar from Near Mint Condition. So shout out to Omar from Near Mint Condition. I don't know if you know
I
that.
think I watch him, or I've watched him before. Isn't he the guy
Yeah,
who always? Isn't he the guy who does all the omnibuses and stuff? He's like,
Yeah.
here's my
Yeah.
collection.
Yeah, he's got an intense collection. I've got a bunch of Omnis over there, which I don't really watch Omar anymore, but I was watching him to figure out whether I wanted to buy certain books or not. But anyway, I will try Berserk at some point, and then I don't know, we'll reel in like 50,000 subs.
So yeah, so you guys are on YouTube now. You guys started recently, actually. Or a few months ago. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what made you want to start a Booktube channel?
Whew, good question. Am I answering this one?
Yeah.
You can add. We've been talking about this for what feels like years, because we discovered that Booktube was a thing maybe like 2.5 years ago, and we kept watching people's videos and then having 3-hour long conversations about what people were saying and like agreeing or disagreeing and like. So for like a year and a bit, we've been saying like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to have a YouTube channel? But you know, it's scary to put yourself out there. So it's just something that we've always talked about in the hypothetical.
We sit around the apartment talking shit about books all the time anyway, so
All
we
the time.
figured we might as well just put a camera in front of
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah. I think one of the things as well was like I think we were both kind of surprised by the underrepresentation of crime on BookTube, given that it's such a hugely popular genre, like with the
Yeah.
general public.
And I took that personally.
Yes, you did. But yeah, like we both love fantasy, but a lot of the channels, the bigger channels, are very focused narrowly and like genre wise, which I understand, like in terms of the algorithm and stuff, like that's not a bad thing. But I think we thought, wouldn't it be cool to just mix stuff and talk about comics and talk about crime, and like while also obviously catering to fantasy and sci-fi. And
Yeah.
I think what kind of made me anyway like get over the hurdle of like putting yourself on the internet was like, oh, nobody's gonna watch it anyway, so
Yeah, I originally, so like I have a background in podcasts. I had a ton of podcasts back in college. Like I did a media degree and stuff, so like I had some experience putting myself out there. Not that anybody listened to those podcasts, but like people in college would. So I've always kind of liked doing it. I also don't mind kind of making a fool of myself either. So like, yeah, I figured let's get over ourselves and just do it.
actually, yeah, I think we talked about this a couple of times. It's a good exercise in like putting yourself out there and just getting over yourself. And for me anyway, like I'm in real life quite reserved about the things that I like and don't like and like my hobbies and stuff. And it's a cool exercise to just put yourself publicly on the internet.
Yeah, I think there's a danger as well of feeling like, well, what the fuck can I add to the conversation? Everybody's already said anything. They've said everything. It's the internet, you know? But I think there's always a different angle that every single person can bring to YouTube, whatever it might be. So, I don't know. I saw a niche for crime fiction and comics. I'm like, man, these people are not reading this. This is good stuff.
Have you guys watched Criminally? Or
Criminally?
Yeah.
No.
Well, he covers like pulp and like crime stuff, so thought maybe
Oh, cool.
you'd enjoy
Cool.
that.
Well, I guess we're not the only niche then. That's cool.
I also cover crime novels on my channel as well, because I'm kind of similar to you guys. I'm like, I mean, if I look, I enjoy fantasy, but like if I covered that genre just like that, like just that genre, I would probably go crazy after a while.
I would get bored.
So I just, that's kind of what inspired me to go back to Booktube. So I'm like, well, no one else is doing it. I guess I'll just, saddle up.
That's it.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the thing that doesn't make channel grow, or doesn't make channels grow. So we're fine. We're okay. We're okay.
And hey, if you guys like it, go. I'm so glad, but
Yeah. No, I've seen. I think I've watched a few of your reviews, and I think the only reviews that I gravitate towards are the non-fantasy ones, because like you and Turfy are kind of the only channels that I see covering at least some crime books that I'm interested in. Like, I don't know, you've read S.A. Cosby, and I read him recently, and I think that's how I found some of your stuff as well. So that kind of stuff, it's cool to have a place for that on Booktube as well, you know?
I did just read Razorblade Tears from him, which is over there. Again, I don't really want to get up and go get it, but it's very good. I enjoyed it.
Cool.
Though, like, there's a line in the book, and I was like, oh, is this direction this book's gonna go? And then it went in that direction. I was like, oh, but it's still a really good book.
Yeah, I liked it, but I thought he was a bit heavy-handed with like what he was trying to say.
Yeah, no.
Like, it was just very, it wasn't subtle at all, and some of the dialogue felt like this kind of person that he's describing would not talk like this, you know. But anyway, it was good. I have Blacktop Wasteland up there that I want to try. So
Very good. That was my first one from him that I read. Then again, it personally appealed to me because I really enjoy muscle cars that are described in that book. So,
cool.
I'm like, oh yeah,
I like muscle cars.
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read this first.
Yeah. Cool. I like muscle cars because we don't get them over here.
So, you guys are from Ireland?
I am. She's not.
Oh,
I'm adopted.
Yeah.
wait, where are you from, Yolanda?
I'm half Spanish, half German. There's a long version and a short version of this answer, but basically like half my family is Spanish and half is German, and I kind of grew up in both countries, but I also lived in New Jersey for a few years as a kid, so all over the place.
So you're one of those displaced people. You're like, I don't know where the hell I'm from now.
Yeah, so like I'm half Spanish, half Irish. Obviously, Booktube will know me as an Irish person because when I speak in English, I have a very Irish accent.
Yeah, I can't really hide that.
So, but yeah, we're pretty mixed. We're pretty mixed.
Excuse me, real quick. I'm gonna do something real quick. You guys can talk among yourself real quick.
Yeah, you're good.
Something.
Oh yeah, this is what I was gonna try to do. Is there a way to...
Never mind.
Just 'cause
He
we're
figured
looking
the
down.
thing out he was telling me about. Alright. Sorry about that. Oh.
All good.
All good. We're just trying to get you positioned in a place where we're not looking down, because our webcam is... Okay, let me see.
Yeah, that might be better, right?
That's
Because
better,
we're
right?
kind of looking at.
We're kind of looking up that way instead of fucking...
That's
down.
closer. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice! Okay. Back in business.
Cool.
Alright. So
We can cut all this shit out.
So, but yeah, you guys cover books on your channel, but you also cover comics on occasion. I know you guys like Star Wars, and I also enjoy Star Wars quite a bit.
Nice.
Yes, we love Star Wars. We love a lot of things. Like I think that was the angle we were gonna try go for on YouTube. Is like
The angle is there's no angle.
loving everything unapologetically and without condescension and without snobbery. And we all get snobby on occasion, but like I think covering everything with an equal amount of love is the soppy way to put it, but that's the idea. It's all love, bro. It's all love.
Have you guys read the Marvel Star Wars comics at all? You
Yes.
I
have?
haven't.
Yeah, so I
I
have
thought they
read...
were very good. That's all I'll say.
You thought they were very good.
Yes.
Cool.
I enjoyed them.
I read Jason Aaron's Star Wars. I read Kieran Gillen's Darth Vader. Obviously they go together. I thought they were very good. I read Charles Soule's Darth Vader, and I thought it was fine.
What, you didn't
And
like
then
Charles Soule's one?
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay.
It's just okay.
It was fine. It was alright. It was okay.
Did you not like
and
did you not
then-
like the trippy force stuff they did in their run?
It was cool. Like, I mean, I liked the beginning with, hunting down. What is it? He's hunting down the Kyber crystal to make the lightsaber and stuff. I enjoyed
Yeah, I was about to
that.
say that was really good. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was all really cool. But I kind of preferred the way Gillen wrote Vader himself. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
the
I
dialogue.
get it.
Yeah.
I'd say
He was more
Soule's
intimidating.
version is more angsty, I guess, because he just became Darth Vader.
That's true. Yeah, it's more angsty. I'm not against angst though. I like angst.
So, like, you guys have also covered other stuff. I know you guys like Harry Potter, as do I, because, I actually got into Harry Potter a little late. Like, I was in middle school when I read it for the first time, and I was like, wow, this is really good.
What age is middle school? Is that like 13, 14, or younger?
Oh, it's from, like, 11 to, like, 14.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot. You guys aren't Yankees.
Yeah, I can figure it out but I have to do like mental gymnastics to like adapt all the school systems.
Yeah, I never understood it. Like, over here it's just primary school and secondary school, and that's it. I don't know what, like... I assume being a senior is, like, your last year of high school, right?
That's precisely
That's all
what
I
it
know.
is.
That is all I know.
I was about to say, well, that's precisely what it is. So, good work. You've done good.
Thank you.
Let's see, because I kind of ran over here to do this. I'm like, I need to eat before I do this.
Go ahead, eat.
Yeah.
If you need to eat any more,
But
we
no,
can cut all that out.
No, I don't need to eat anymore.
Cool.
You guys read Sinlin of Sins, or well, you did. The male did.
Yeah.
She's reading it right now, actually.
I
Yeah,
have
I
my copy right here. I just need to read it.
Nice. Yeah, he was gushing about it so much that I picked it up. I started it like 2 days ago, and I'm loving it. It's great.
Yeah. There's a real sense of snappy personality to it. There's just a flair to the way he writes that I really like. very different from your usual fantasy fare, and I kind of find that it's got like the structure of a solid thriller, but well written. Because like I mean, a lot of thrillers are pretty standard, you know, pretty averagely written. But I just find the right.
You're not like a James Patterson fan.
No, not really. No.
No, I'm not either. But I'm just.
I may have dabbled when I was like 14, and nah. Not really. But yeah, Senon's got this. I don't know. It's just got this energy to it that I really, really liked.
Yeah, it has a lot of depth as well. Like I find myself thinking about it when I'm not reading it. Like it has things to say, but it's not beating you over the head with it. So I think it's the kind of book where, depending on where you're at and who you are, you'll see different things in it and get different like themes out of it, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's my favorite kind of book, and I'm just into the, like, more superficially, I'm just really into the vibe of the tower and, like, you know, the different levels of the tower and that kind of thing. So
yeah,
the mystery of it all, I that's just fun. So like to me, it's like really balancing a fun. I'm finding it fast paced. I think some people think it's slow, so like whatever, it's just my own taste.
Those people are incorrect. Objectively.
But yeah, also with like things to say, and I think I'm gonna remember it. We'll see with time, but yeah, no, I think it's gonna be one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I bought this like a month ago, and I do want to read it at some point because it sounds right up my alley. That type of kind of weird fantasy. Apparently, Mark Lawrence likes it because he's blurbed like right at the front here. So
yeah, so there's a funny story with that book. It's Josiah Bancroft wrote it and was trying to get it published for years, but wasn't getting anywhere. And he was about ready to like give up and say, you know what, this writing gig is just not working out. And then he submitted it last minute to the Mark Lawrence Spiff Bow competition for self-published books, because he had self-published it and it wasn't getting any traction. And then it took off because Mark Lawrence read it and then gave it a good review, and then everybody else started reading it. So, and then he got a book deal, which is kind of cool. I like that kind of story.
That is really cool, yeah. And doesn't Mark Lawrence have like an analysis of the first page on his blog or something like that?
Yeah, he's done like full-on like analysis or analyses.
Flattering. He's like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine you write a book and you're like, oh, this published author is like
gushing over it,
seriously analyzing my shit. This is cool.
But yeah, no, that's cool. I do want to read it at some point because it sounds like it's right up my alley. A kind of weirder type of fantasy.
Yeah.
I've
definitely do, and it's a good like break between like the big epic ones, because it's a lot like narrower, I guess, in the world building, not in a bad way, but yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I mean, my big reads so far this year have been the Gentleman Bastard books, which I have thoroughly enjoyed. And,
nice.
I read the first Law, or I finished the first Law series because I started it last year, and then I took a break from fantasy, and I got back to it. And, yeah.
Cool. I have yet to read both of those series. Gentleman, I mean, they both sound like my cup of tea. Gentleman Bastards, I'm a bit cautious just because of the, you know, how long it's been since the third one came out. But I need to get to Joe Abercrombie.
Yeah, I know.
I really do.
Those
Abercrombie is
the authors. They can't freaking finish their series.
I know. Like when I first got into adult fantasy, like I grew up with Harry Potter and stuff, and I read like YA when I was like in that age group, and when I graduated onto adult fantasy, and the first two series I picked up were Painkiller Chronicles and Song of Ice and Fire.
You know what we need? We need James Patterson up in this place.
And all of his Ghost Riders.
And all of his Ghost
It's
Riders.
duck-tailed. It's come full circle. Yeah,
I need a James Patterson level Song of Ice and Fire.
Get him and his co-writers to clean it up.
Yeah, I need to get to Abercrombie because that man has my sense of humor, and I just feel like those books are gonna tickle my pickle, I reckon.
Yes, he's very good. I enjoyed his stuff very much.
Cool.
So far, anyway. I did read Best Served Cold, and I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as the trilogy, so...
Have you read all the standalones?
Just read one of them so far.
Okay. Cool.
Because I finished the trilogy, and then they just announced that the Best Served Cold movie's coming out, so I'm like, shit! So I read I read Best Served Cold, and I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna take a break from Joe Abercrombie for a little bit. Not because he's, like, bad or anything, it's just, I don't want to get burned out on his work. Yet.
Is the director of Deadpool and Terminator Dark Fate making that movie?
I did hear the guy who made Deadpool is making that movie, which...
Yeah, he also made Terminator Dark Fate, which... I don't know if that bodes well or not, but Deadpool was good, and...
I was about to say, I didn't like that movie at all, but Deadpool was good.
Is that the last Terminator that came out?
That's the last
Yeah,
one,
I didn't like that either.
Yeah.
Like, Deadpool was good.
So Deadpool was good. Yeah, and then did they announce a cast for that movie?
Yeah, lady who plays Paul's mom in Dune is going to be the main lady.
Oh, Rebecca Ferguson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I couldn't get into Dune. I did see the movie, and it looks great. I couldn't really connect with it, though.
You haven't read book?
I have.
Okay.
I thought it was 3 stars at best, I thought. But, I saw your sci-fi video the other day. I was like, you mentioned Dune, I'm like, yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah. I knew that making that video. I'm like, I'm not going to surprise a single person with this video, but I don't care. Yeah.
I haven't read it yet. I wanted to before part 1 of the movie came out, and I just didn't get to it. So now I've been waiting for part 2, and it's going to catch me if I'm not careful. But I want to read it before part 2 of the movie. But with the movie, I had a similar thing where I really enjoyed it. It looks amazing, but it left me a bit cold emotionally. But I'm looking forward to the book and seeing what all the fuss is about, or not.
Or not.
Carlos is just like, oh my gosh. I will ask, though, have you guys read Dennis Lehane at all? Because...
I have, yes, I have.
Because she talked about Don Winslow, and I was like, hey, Yolanda, I know a guy called Dennis Lehane, and he's also very good. But I haven't read Don Winslow, so I won't comment on Don Winslow yet.
In Ireland, we would say Dennis Lehane, but I know he's American, and he probably pronounces his own name incorrectly, but...
Oh, it's Lehane? Oh.
Lehane, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
It's an Irish name, so... But, I mean, Elvis Costello is, like... That's Elvis Costello, because that's an Irish name, and he says that wrong. But, like, anyway... Sorry, that's just a pet peeve of mine.
Hey, Dennis, you say your name wrong.
Yeah, but it's like there's such a pride in
You're going to walk into the book signing and just go like, hey, might be pronouncing your name wrong.
Your name's wrong, man.
It's like, excuse me?
But, yes, I have read Dennis Lehane, yeah. I read one of the Kenzie and Gennaro books. I can't remember which one. Maybe it was Gone, Baby Gone. Whichever one they made the movie of. That one. Anyway. Yeah.
If you had to pitch one of them, which one? Which one should I start with?
I would start with maybe like the Kinsey and Gennaro series, or Gennaro. I don't know how to pronounce that right, but it's sort of his take on like those like kind of longer running, PI series like Scudder, or who else? other people.
Yeah.
Except it's 6 books. It's not like it's like 6 books, not like 20 or 40. Like some of them, I'm like Jesus.
Cool. I know. It's like, and I know you don't have to read all of them, but I still I have this urge to finish series, and then it's always a bit intimidating. Okay, yeah, cool. That 6 is doable.
I don't get that urge. I just read a book here and there. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I get the urge for you to finish the series.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I would start with that, or I mean, you can read like Mystic River. I actually just covered that on my channel recently. So.
That's heavy.
Cool.
That's heavy stuff, Mystic River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Putting it mildly. Yeah.
Though
I enjoy. I don't know if enjoy is the right word, but I
mean, Power of the Dog.
Power of the Dog is heavy stuff. Yeah.
By everything that you've told me about that book.
Power of the Dog. You say that? And
yeah, there's
also
a movie,
a
but
book.
It's a different.
Yeah,
it's a different.
It's a different
it's
Power
very
of the Dog.
confusing. Yeah, because when that movie came out, I was like, "Oh my god, they're adapting it! How did I not know about this?" And no, it's a different book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he did like a Cartel trilogy. I haven't seen it, or I haven't read it, not seen it, but I know they made a movie out of one of his books.
Yeah, so there's Savages is a movie, and Death and Life of Bobby Zed are the 2 adaptations, and then which are both sort of standalone. So there's a prequel to Savages, but it's not needed in any way. And for the Cartel trilogy, I think they're gonna make a TV show, but it's been like in pre-production for ages, so I'm not sure what the status is on that.
I know he made a Cartel trilogy, and I know he really doesn't like Donald Trump. That's probably all I know about Don Winslow right now.
Yeah,
he is
very vocal about that.
He is quite vocal on Twitter, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I've heard his Cartel trilogy is very good.
Yeah,
very
it
much
is.
like
It's
researched and stuff.
Totally, yeah. I actually just filmed a video yesterday. This is me. This is a plug. About like breaking down, because I'm breaking down his bibliography and like by theme, and I'm starting with drug cartels because that includes the Cartel trilogy, and it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite trilogies of all time, like overall genres.
You're a drug cartel aficionado.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. Fan of the cartels.
It's about the war on drugs more than anything else. But like all sides involved, and yeah, it's incredibly researched. I think I used the word masterpiece in the video like 6 times, and it's
tossing
just
that
the best
term out
word.
like candy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great, and the good thing about it as well is it's a trilogy. But if you read, I don't think, this is just me speculating, but I don't think it was planned as a trilogy straight away. Like, he came out with The Power of the Dog in 2005, and it covers from like the mid-70s up to 2004. So I just think that because the Cartel came out 10 years later, which is the second one, I think it was just because like the situation evolved, more stuff happened, and he had more things to say, so he wrote a sequel. So like you can read The Power of the Dog as a standalone, and then if you want more, you can keep going. So yeah, it's really, really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard it's good. I've heard it's good. Yeah, just need to read it at some point.
You can add it to the
I know.
never end.
Like I have it on. Like I mean, I don't know how I know you guys are on Goodreads, but I don't know how like frequently you use it or anything. But have you ever read like any of Kemper's reviews on there?
I don't think so.
Yes, that name rings a bell. Yeah.
His profile picture is Archer.
Yes.
You have read
I have read it.
Very good. Yeah, no, I love like when I'm like I'm in a crime fiction mood. What am I gonna read?
Yeah.
I go to him to see what he says. But yeah, no, it's crime fiction's it's odd because it's like a weird niche genre on like YouTube. Like I barely see anybody cover like.
Yeah.
And it's so odd because it's like probably the highest selling in terms of genre fiction, like different genre fictions. It's probably the highest selling, or like
Like
the
I
best
see,
second.
I see like S.A. Cosby or like Dennis Lehane or I don't even know anymore.
Nice.
I can't even. I don't even know anymore. Like on YouTube, but like I like it's like I don't see it get covered a lot, and I wish it was covered more. But I guess that's, hopefully we can. Hopefully us together can bring a renaissance of like crime fiction booktube.
Yeah, it'd be cool because I think crime is a lot broader than people give it credit for. Like, there's obviously your standard middle of the road thriller, and there's a lot of mediocre stuff out there. But like, it's the same for all genres, really.
All genres will have their middle of the road standard shite, to be honest. And then there's like anything, there's really good stuff. It just depends what it is you're looking for.
But also, it's so broad. Like, you can't really compare a, I don't know, like historical murder mystery with Karen Slaughter with.
Oh, she's good. Have you read Karen Slaughter?
I have not. I want to.
She's very good.
Yeah, she is not afraid of getting dark.
Yeah, she doesn't pull any punches. If you have any interest whatsoever in getting into the minds of really messed up people, you can count on Karen Slaughter to do that really well.
I mean, I did just recently read The Killer Inside Me from Jim Thompson, and my dad saw the book, and he was like, "Son, is there something I should be worried about?" And I'm like, no, no.
Let me think about that for a second. I don't think so.
I'm like, you gave me a good idea on how to start one, like a review if I ever write one. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's nice.
What was that called? Jim Thompson. What is it?
This book, The Killer Inside Me, from Ernest.
Cool. Okay.
I'm gonna make a note of that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice T-shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm a big Batman fan, and I got a DC T-shirt subscription. So.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
I am
also
like,
I got this. I'm like, awesome. So yeah, I got
nice.
I'll get the ones I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I'll get the Aquamans and even some obscure ones. I got a Peacemaker TV shirt, or not TV, T-shirt of the TV show, and I'm like, oh okay, yeah. I'll wear it. But but yeah, I'm a big Batman guy.
Cool. Yeah. We had at some point, we've been trimming our Omni collection a little bit, so we have all the good stuff and not just
everything,
getting into the craze of buying something just because it's an omnibus.
Yeah.
But for a while we had 2-3 cubes of the shelf full of Batman.
Yeah, I trimmed it down to my favorites, to my favorite runs. I have Morrison, I have Snyder, Capullo, and I got Tom King. And we have anything else?
I think those are the big ones.
Those are the big ones.
We have Year One. And
there's some Frank Miller in there, of course.
Yeah, I got Year One.
Yeah.
Dark Knight Returns, I'm kind of on and off about. I really don't like the art style for one.
I am not as big on Dark Knight Returns as much of the comics internet space would be.
I'm glad I'm not alone on that. I mean, I think it's a great story, but the art, I'm like, my god.
It's a good story, but those pages hurt my eyes.
Yeah, no, it's like, God. There's some that look okay, and then there's others I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, I got that when I was getting back into comics. I got it. I picked it up. I'm like, I'm gonna do Dark Knight Returns. No, not for me.
Yeah, no, I like Year One much more because it's just him writing, and the art looks amazing.
Yeah. It's basically crime noir.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, I'm like, this is how Batman should be written all the time.
Yes.
And then he did All-Star Batman and Robin Boy Wonder, which we don't talk about.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible comic that I love. because
did you read Morrison's run?
not yet. I got an omnibus though, and I'm definitely planning on reading that because everyone's like, "Yo, Morrison."
I think
I have read A Serious House on Serious Earth, which is awesome.
Oh,
Really
cool.
bizarre.
Yeah.
And weird.
Very bizarre. Yeah, I think he's my favorite because it's probably got the most rereadability. There's just so much going on under the surface in that run, and it's crazy. And I don't know how many different types of hallucinogenic drugs he did while writing that, but it was many.
Yeah, no, he's good when he wants to be, and not just look how weird I can get, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely goes a bit too far a lot, but I think that most of that Batman run is an absolute masterpiece.
Like, have you read The Invisibles from Grant Morrison?
So I only read the first arc, and then I never continued because this is apparently what I do.
It's too weird, right? That's the one where I'm like, yo, this is too weird even for me.
It is pretty weird. Yeah. I was really liking the dialogue in that though, because it's very like, it's set in like Liverpool or something, and just the dialogue and the slang is very similar to the Dublin, but I was enjoying. But then I don't know. I just never continued with it. I need to though. I will. If I'm in the right headspace, because.
No, I get you. Like, he is not for everyone. Like, he's done some really, really weird. I was gonna ask about the Invisibles because that's like that's one of my that's peak weird for for Morrison.
Yeah. Oh, I know he was pretty pissed off with the who did the Matrix? What are their names?
The Wachowskis.
The Wachowskis, because the Matrix is basically the Invisibles, but less weird.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's essentially the same concept, because like at the start of Invisibles, there's this like young working class lad in Liverpool who gets taken in by this secret society who show him the actual reality that we're living in. And it's basically like, all of this is just to keep you in place as a cog in the machine, but we're here to show you what's really going on, and that's the Invisibles.
And he also has like his shameless like self-insert King Mob, who's just like this crazy bald man. He's great. I'm like, dude, I gotta get back to Invisibles, see if like at some point, but my favorite of his is All-Star Superman, because
I may have a controversial opinion to drop on you.
You don't love that book?
I don't love that book.
Oh. It's great. Oh.
It was going so well.
No, but
No, disclaimer though, I have never really been a fan of Superman.
No, I'm not a huge fan either. And I love All-Star Superman, so you know, it's just a
cool.
It's weird because like I'm like, Superman's like too nice. That's boring. And then I read All-Star Superman. I'm like, oh man, I just want to hug this Superman. Yeah.
There are a lot of heartfelt moments in that. There's one particular scene that I always remember from that book, and it's when he saves the girl.
That's my favorite moment from it. It's so good.
That is,
Yeah, I remember that actually. Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna sit here and deny that is not a well-written scene, you know, but...
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not a big Superman guy either, though. You know, Yolanda, don't want to leave you out of this conversation. What comics do you enjoy aside from Monstrous?
That is a good question. Yeah, in terms of like, since you were talking about DC specifically, I actually haven't read a ton of DC. I've read more Marvel. I read Batman Year One, but I haven't actually continued with any more Batman. But I feel like I've had a very good representation of the character. Like I really enjoyed that comic.
I think Tom King's Batman would be your thing.
I'll read that someday because I loved his vision.
I liked what I read of Tom King's Batman. I just heard it goes downhill after like this one moment.
Yeah. I actually haven't read past the point where people say it gets really bad. Anyway, we're gonna let you.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, I liked Tom King's Vision.
That was really good. It's my favorite.
Yeah, it's great. I think that was actually one of the first comics I read. Certainly one of the first, if not the first, Marvel comic I read, and I loved it. But in terms of DC, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also, that art style.
It's so good.
Oh, peak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
You have an obscure. I'm gonna open the door for you here.
Oh yeah, I'm weirdly the only person on the planet that's really into Green Arrow.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he's did you guys ever watch the Arrow TV show before it became like a soap opera?
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked that.
You enjoy? Oh yeah. I enjoyed it, and then season 4 came out, and I'm like, wow, that was really stupid. And then I saw season 5, I'm like, that was pretty good. And then the rest of them, I just kind of got bored after a while.
Yeah, I don't think I got past season 4. So I started watching it when it came out, and this is kind of weird, right? Because I was never into superheroes growing up. It just didn't happen. Like the only really superhero related content that I like grew up with was the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, but that was kind of it. I had zero knowledge of Marvel DC, and a friend recommended to watch Arrow when like the first season was coming out. So I started watching it. Really enjoyed it and had no idea that it was like a comic book adaptation or like even a superhero show, which now I'm like, how did I watch that and not realize this was a superhero? But I think because like season 1 especially is still pretty grounded and you don't get like, you know, people with actual superpowers all that much, or that I remember.
You didn't actually realize that he was based on a DC character.
For a long time I didn't know, but then that was kind of my gateway, so I think I'm just fond of the character, and then I went getting into comics. I started picking up Green Arrow comics, and I really enjoyed Benjamin Percy's run because the art there is amazing. I still have to read Mike Grell, which is like the
old one, yeah.
The Green Arrow run that people talk about. When
I've heard Jeff Lemire's is very good. That he did. Like,
oh yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but I'm a big Jeff Lemire fan, so I'm definitely going to.
That one's good. Yeah, I read that one as well, and like the DC continuity gets so confusing because they repeat it so often.
They haven't known what to do with it for years. It's like
yeah, it gets so messy, and like because Green Arrow is like a less popular character, they just couldn't get a writer to commit, and then like I think it's the New 52 that Jeff Lemire was writing, but he didn't write 52 issues. He wrote like 17 because it was like a bunch of people before and a bunch of people after.
And Andrea Sorrentino's on there. I'm like, yo, they tend to work pretty good together. I have geeking followers there, and that's really good.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one, and it's also a good starting point. I think that might have actually been the first one I read. There's also a Green Arrow Year 1, that's written by Andy Diggle, and then they named the TV show character after him as an homage, and that one's pretty good.
I've heard that's good. It has Jock as the artist.
Jock is going out, yeah.
Yeah.
Jock did the Black Mirror Batman story, right? With Scott Snyder.
Also did Witches.
And Witches, yeah.
I freaking love Witches.
Yeah.
So
Witches is great, yeah.
My one of my favorite horror comics anyway. I don't know if it is like my favorite, but it's one of them. And I'm like, yo,
I really like. I don't know if I would classify it as a horror comic, but I guess it's got elements. The Black Monday Murders by Hickman is really, really cool. It's got horror elements. I guess it's more, I don't know, occult science fiction, I guess.
Yeah, no, I've read Hickman. I read his Fantastic Four run because I have a soft spot for Fantastic Four. And his Fantastic Four run was awesome. Then Secret Wars was awesome, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
man,
Yeah.
I have to get back to that. I read Fantastic Four, but I haven't read his Avengers run yet.
Oh, that's a masterpiece. That's
yeah,
just an
I need to
absolute
get to that.
masterpiece. Yeah. You like you're a big Spidey fan too.
I am.
You like
I
JMS.
love Spider-Man.
I do.
Yeah. Straczynski's run, I remember, because I picked up the Omni of J. Michael Straczynski's run. For anybody watching this who doesn't know, J. Michael Straczynski wrote Spider-Man in probably peak Spider-Man in the early 2000s. But I picked up that omnibus edition, and you were glued to that for like 24 hours.
Oh, yeah. That was also peak, like, pandemic, first lockdown, so I just, like, had nothing else to do either.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all have read, like, Ultimate Spider-Man, but, like, that is, like, amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I want to read that. I find the fact
also,
that
if I remember, probably, like, the longest collaboration between a writer and artist, aside from...
They broke Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's record.
That's
the
crazy.
Collab, yeah.
Yeah, Bendis is like, haha, mine now. He's a great Spider-Man writer, though.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that. I also like I'm just thinking of like Marvel comics that I've enjoyed. I really like Brubaker's Captain America.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so good.
Fire.
That was like,
speaking of crime, right?
I watched like I didn't think of Captain America. Like I actually got into Captain America after watching the MCU movies, so I'm like,
yeah,
same.
And then I read the Brubaker one. I'm like, dude, this is so good.
Same.
Oh yeah, if you before watching Winter Soldier, like the movie, if somebody had tried to pitch me a Captain America run, I'd be like, get away from me. Yeah. Like it doesn't get more vanilla than that.
Yeah.
But it's so good. It's amazing. He's such a good like crime spy thriller writer, and the whole tone of that run is amazing. And even when it gets a bit silly, like Captain America Lives and stuff, I actually really enjoyed that.
Because he wrote that with a sense of fun as well. Because like he knew, there's no way, well, to keep it spoiler free for anybody, but there's no way that this event is staying the way it is, so I'm just gonna have fun with it. And then it was delightfully ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
I just binged the rest of his Reckless series because I had only read the first one, and like this last couple of weeks I binged the rest of that series. Or I think I have one left that is currently out.
Yeah, I my favorite one of those comics are the second one, because that ending just hit me like a brick. I was like,
yeah,
he's so good at ending really things. Like it's like, how does he do it? It's always like sad and
yeah.
I'm like, I gotta get a drink after this.
He's better than Jeff Lemire at ending things.
I was just thinking that.
Because Jeff Lemire's latest
I don't know. Sweet Tooth has a great ending, though. I haven't read Sweet Tooth: The Return. I haven't read Sweet Tooth: The Return. So
Sweet Tooth's ending is wonderful. I think Sweet Tooth and Descender are the best two comics that Jeff Lemire has done. And
I actually just started reading Descender again. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I have some pacing issues here and there, but I do enjoy it. I'm enjoying it.
Did you read Gideon Falls?
First couple volumes I've read it. I heard it gets really trippy, but I like the first couple volumes I read. I'm like, yeah.
I loved it, and then I thought the ending was just like, it was like, oh, I didn't know where I was going, and now I need to end this because I want to write 5 other things. And I was a little.
He's a truck. That man is a machine.
Yeah. But I kind of want him to just refocus, write one thing, and do it really well, because he's a great ideas guy. And then his first few volumes are all like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And then he just like, oh, and now I have an idea for 5 other things, and I'm going to go do that, and I don't know what to do with this thing that I'm working on right now. But anyway.
That's a big thing in comics anyway, though, like, that things just get parked, and then, like, in indie comics, I mean, specifically, like, I'm just thinking, like Witches, like, doesn't Scott Snyder want to get back to that? He's been saying for years that there's going to be like a
I
volume
was so
2.
mad. I'm like, dude, because the ending, I'm like, dude, I want to read more of this. And then, like,
Yeah.
like he's only put out like a one shot. I'm like, oh, dude, why?
He went back to do American Vampire like 10 years later as well, so he might get to it.
Yeah.
I liked American Vampire. It's just him kind of having fun with the concept. I'm like, oh, okay.
I haven't read that one actually. I've got that on the never ending to read list.
Yeah. I know you. I think I saw you guys like comment on one of my videos. You guys like Jeff Lemire.
Yep.
You especially, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
telling
I've
you,
actually
man. Black Hammer might be like the best like alternate like take on superheroes since like Watchmen. I'm not.
I'm gonna say something controversial,
Oh, boy.
and I liked Black Hammer more than Watchmen, to be honest.
What? No, no. I mean, I love Watchmen, but yeah, no.
I think the thing with Watchmen for me is like, I absolutely can tell that is a supremely well written book, and there is so much going on in that, and it did so much for the medium. But I just think what Alan Moore is saying in it, in my interpretation, doesn't really work with me on a fundamental level. And I thought Black Hammer had a bit more heart, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wanting to catch up. Like, after I'm done with my Saga catch up, I'm definitely doing Black Hammer catch up next because I love that series. It's so good.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because when I read it the first time, it was on a car drive I was heading to Arkansas. I think it was like because I go there for my for 4th of July, and you know, Yankee Freedom Day, and I started I just started reading him like, yo, this is so good, like,
yeah,
this shit's hardcore. Oh man, it's like,
that one had an element for me towards the end where I feel like he rushed things as well, but just there was a whimsical quality to it that was like, okay, he's just paying homage to the Silver Age or the Golden Age even, writing his own version of, well, if I was writing in the Golden Age, this would be my comic, and I really appreciated that about those books. But it kind of feels like the book, or a book for comic nerds. Like, I would be intrigued to see someone who has never read a comic in their life, or specifically a superhero comic in their life, read that book and what they would think of it. It would probably just be too weird.
Yeah, it'd probably go over your head. Like, I haven't actually read it yet, but you know, I only got into like superhero comics specifically like maybe in the last 4 or 5 years. And before that, I definitely wouldn't have, you know, I probably wouldn't have even known what the things were referencing or anything like that. It just might be the kind of thing that, because you know how there's sometimes it's a real skill that I'm very impressed by. Like, writers are able to pay homage without alienating people that don't get the references.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like from your descriptions and stuff that it would be the kind of thing that if you don't get the references, you can tell that you're missing something.
Yeah, it's a little bit like Morrison's Batman. I don't know how well that would land if you don't know a good bit about Batman, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everyone's always like, bro, read Morrison's Batman. Like, that is peak Batman material. I'm like, I'm going to one day. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, I would read more Batman before you do that, though.
Though it's funny because it's like, like, I'm like, I don't want to get too weirded out by Morrison.
Yeah, I'm a bit intimidated by Morrison. I think I think there's a good bit of Batman that I have to read before I dare get to Morrison.
But back to regular books though. As much as I enjoy talking about comics, yeah, I know Carlos covered Elric recently. That was pretty cool.
Yes,
Seems like people are just like discovering like digging up Elric out of like since the new like omnibus whatever books are coming out now. Like I was reading that before I started doing Booktube, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And everyone's coming around, they're like, yeah, this is pretty cool.
I mean, a big reason that we wanted to start the channel as well is like discovering, because Booktube is so fantasy heavy, and I don't have anything against fantasy. I really like fantasy. I kind of want to do this project of reading all the influential stuff. So it's gonna take me a long time because I read a lot of different things too. But Elric was just one that, I don't know, it just spoke to me one day and I picked it up and I flew through that first novella. It was so good. So good. I haven't read anything that Michael Moorcock has said about fantasy in general. But I know he's got his opinions about things.
Yeah, no, he has a bone to pick with Tolkien, but aside from that, good writer. I like him anyway. I did read one of his books called The Whispering Swarms a few years ago, which is kind of like a meta, autobiography / fantasy novel.
Oh wow, that sounds.
I didn't like it, but it was it's really I'm like, wow, this is something else. It was imaginative. I didn't care for it though.
That's one thing that really surprised me actually about Elric is just the amount of crazy fucking shit he packs into like 150 pages, while still telling a compelling story. Like all of that weirdness is not overbearing,
I really like the atmosphere because it's really brooding. Yeah, and I enjoy that. So.
I also have no idea that he, like, speaking of like creativity and stuff, that it's a multiverse, and that he really like not fully coined that term, but was like an early, dabbler in that. That I had no idea. Like,
and then Marvel and DC saw it, was like, we should do that too. More cocks like, I want my royalties.
I wasn't aware of that either, but it's super cool. It's one of my favorite discoveries of this year now, actually, is I had heard of Elric, of course. I had heard of Michael Moorcock, but I don't know, I just never prioritized these kinds of books, or like I had never really prioritized fantasy novels. But I guess the last few years, COVID gave us a bit more time to sit around and get into these beefy books. So
yeah, I know. I saw you guys are gonna try, or one of you was gonna try the Malazan series. Good luck with that, because
have you read it?
I haven't touched that book with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna go into the deep end and see what happens. Just fuck it. I'll do it.
Fair enough. And I'll probably try it someday. I'd probably be a bad fantasy fan if I didn't read it at all, but I don't know. It's very big.
Not a fan of these standards that we set ourselves of like, oh, I can't do this if I don't read it. No, I don't care. Read whatever you want to read. So like, don't stress about it.
It's kind of like Brandon Sanderson. I'm like, I want to rate him at some point, but I don't love his approach to fantasy though. So I'm kind of I don't know if he'll be for me. Plus everyone's like, oh my gosh, Brandon Sanderson. I'm just like, oh okay.
I kind of get the same vibe, but I do want to read Stormlight again. Throw myself into the deep end, but yeah. I don't know if, from the outside in, I just don't know if he's gonna be.
Yeah, I read Mistborn 2 years ago. It's the only thing I've read by Sanderson.
That's the one I'm interested in because because I like the concept of that. Oh my, that's interesting.
It's a cool concept. Like I was very impressed with his plotting and just how. And I'm not going to say anything that a million people haven't said before, but oh, sorry, our screen just went black and it disoriented me. I'll keep talking.
Just wanted a bit more light.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, what was I saying?
Sorry.
Sanderson, Mistborn, yes. I was really impressed by how tight his plot is, and like he sets up rules and then he subverts them, but in a really clever way with like each book that expands on it. And the whole magic system thing is not my favorite because I like my magic being a bit mysterious, and I don't necessarily love it being like a scientific or pseudo-scientific thing, but I do find it very impressive
Yeah.
how he sets that up.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed Mistborn. That really hooked me. They're page turners, but I'm also very character focused when I read. I like character and theme probably the most, and that's not what he focuses on. At least not in Mistborn. It's more about like plot and magic system.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. I don't really see a lot of people not enjoying it like at all because they're really fun.
Yeah, I'll put
But
like
yeah,
I'll put like a shit post video at some point where I'm just like Brandon Sanderson sucks with an X.
Yeah.
Just, like, have you guys ever seen Mean Girls? Just Regina George just standing there watching the chaos unfold. That would be me.
Nice.
No, I'm kidding. I'm probably, like, but you know.
I will read Stormlight someday. I find his whole concept of the Cosmere really interesting, but I sometimes with these things where like everything is interconnected and stuff, and like I'm not sure to what point you have to have read stuff to appreciate like the next book. Like there's people that say that you have to read, what is it, Warbreaker, I think, before you read like a certain book in Stormlight, and like sometimes that alienates me a little bit because I'm like, I just want to read this series. Like, can you stop it with the tie-ins? I don't want to have to like consume all of these things. Like, kind of bringing it back to
because there's so much of that in that series.
Yeah.
Heard that. Yeah.
Because everything's connected in the Dark Tower. I mean, it's just insane.
Like, it's really cool if you're in it and you get that payoff, but like getting into it can feel a bit intimidating, which I guess like we're just talking about Marvel and DC Comics. It's the same thing, right? It's all interconnected. Like, where do I start with this?
I try to follow the writers more now than like the characters, because if you follow the characters, the quality will just kind of zigzag a lot.
Yeah.
That's
Like, I've read some great Batman runs, and I've read some really bad ones.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say the Silver Age is bad, but there are some really weird ones. Some really weird Silver Age Batman runs. Like, he's in like a rainbow suit. I'm like, oh man, this is...
Yeah. There's, drugs.
Drugs, yeah.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Plus they didn't really take comics that seriously back then, so like, oh, why not?
Yeah.
No one's gonna notice.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's funny because like with noir, like I was reading, like I mentioned, The Killer Inside Me the other day, and there's like a lot of stuff about like sadomasochism and like molestation. Please don't cancel me, YouTube. But and I'm like, wow, he really went for it. And this was written in like the 50s, and I'm like, wow, he really got away with it. And I'm like, well, noir wasn't taken as seriously back then, so he's probably given some leeway.
Yeah, I mean, like that kind of pulpy stuff. I guess there was an element of freedom, and even with like Michael Moorcock and all the crazy shit that he puts in his books, or that he put in his books back then. I guess it's just because publishers are, or he was like publishing them himself in his own magazine strip, so people just think, oh, it's real pulpy crap, so they kind of get away with stuff. I guess noir and comics were somewhat similar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's different now. I don't think you can get
true.
away with the zebra suit Batman nowadays. They'd probably be like, okay.
Twitter would just get annoyed at it and get offended and be like, oh, we're pandering to zebras now.
Yeah, exactly. Or, okay, this is jumping the shark.
Yeah.
Which, if I remember right, Batman has also done, also in the Silver Age. But yeah, no, it's good fun. But yeah, no, it's weird how genre fiction has changed over the years, because, like, back then people were like, oh yeah, you know, it's for kids, and then now it's like...
It's a perfectly valid form of storytelling. I mean, all of the same kinds of things that are in regular literature can be done in genre fiction. You've just got a like a window dressing to everything. And it can be taken seriously, and it can be fun, and it can be both at the same time, which I think is an important thing that I guess the internet has done for genre fiction as well. Like, you have people online taking it seriously who like talk about it seriously, and it, I guess, breaks down the stereotypes or whatever.
Philip Chase.
So there's a Philip Chase,
I had
for
him
sure.
on the other day. He was great.
Yeah. Oh, I wish, like, I studied literature in college, and every time I watch one of Philip's videos, I just wish he had been my professor in college. Like, how different that experience would have been, because my course was very snobby, you know, nothing but literary fiction written pre-1940s, and very different from, like,
There's good stuff from that time. It's just, you know, some of it that's really stuffy, though.
Yeah, totally. Like, it's great. Like, a lot of classics are classics for a reason. It's just not the only valid form of serious literature. And literature doesn't have to be serious, of course. It can also just be entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading this book called Gun with Occasional Music right now, and they're like gangster kangaroos and
Nice.
And babies with like adult intelligence, and it's like, you know, like, and this guy is like, you know, taken seriously. I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying this. He's just having fun with this.
Wow.
That sounds fantastic.
So, on like the Grant Morrison scale of weirdness,
and it's hilarious too, because he calls him Joey, because, you know, that's what they call baby kangaroos, and that's literally the kangaroo's name is Joey. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. You know, it's great, but it's like, you know, yeah, no, it's good stuff, but yeah, no, I try to be diverse in my reading, because if not, I'll just get bored.
Yeah, same. And it's sometimes I feel like there's a danger with like the Booktube sphere, especially like being on Booktube like directly and not just watching it.
Yeah.
Of like wanting to read the stuff that everybody's talking about, because like you want to feel a part of the conversation, but then I've noticed that I'm just not good at having a set TBR. If I do that too much, I get frustrated and I end up not enjoying the books that much, even though I might want to actually read them.
Yeah.
So I need the freedom to just bounce around and pick up something random that maybe nobody's talking about, or something that I've wanted to read for a long time, and without feeling, like you were saying earlier, this like, okay, I want to read and talk about fantasy. I feel like I need to take all of these boxes. I need to read Erickson, I need to read Sanderson, I need to read Abercrombie, and I'm talking about it.
Yeah. Oh, man. One of the things I like about Alan's channel is that he's like not afraid to cover other genres. He's just like, here's what I like, and there you go. What you see is what you get, basically.
Yeah, that's what I like about Alan and Jimmy as well, is that I think Jimmy took a little while to start covering other stuff, but he's definitely more seems to be more open to covering that kind of stuff on his channel. Like, I don't want to make assumptions about what all of these guys read and stuff, but at least in terms of what they cover on their channels, a lot of booktube channels I find just sort of stick to their niche, which again is fine, is absolutely fine. But yeah, to my own personal taste, I like a bit of variety. I like that a lot of people also, will make a video talking about, oh, I read Lonesome Dove this month, or oh, I read, Dennis Lehane or whatever, it's just like Jimmy's on this Russian literature kick at the moment. It's just it's entertaining to watch.
Yeah, no, I would say I'm friendly with him, I think we're friends at this point. But yeah, we talk from time to time, and yeah, we both really enjoy Cormac McCarthy. I'm like, I appreciate that you talk about him on your channel, and he literally was like, he shot straight with me. He's like, dude, I'm kind of nervous to cover him, like, do like an actual review, and I'm like, you know what? I understand, buddy.
Yeah.
I get it. Like,
yeah.
I'm also into McCarthy, and I just read McCarthy this month. So like, I mean, yeah, why not? Also, like, he is one of the most famous, or was one of the most famous writers ever of this generation. So just do it. Just put it out there.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, no, I mean, I watched your science fiction video the other day, and I was kind of surprised you had a Scanner Darkly on there, because like, when it comes to like PKD, most people talk about like, do androids dream of electric sheep, or
which is the one that I've never read.
Which is the one you've never read. Which
yeah.
I thought was funny. You were just like, I should let everyone know I didn't read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which is a good book, by the way. But,
I'm sure it is, yeah. I'm sure it is.
But I love A Scanner. Yeah. It's probably my favorite of his, is A Scanner Darkly. It's really funny, and it's even touching, especially by the end. You're just like, oh, man, this is sad.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bits is when the dude tries to kill himself. He has, like, the fountainhead, and then the guy just starts reading him all of the worst things he's done. I'm like, yep, that's
good
stuff.
I read that probably 10 years ago. I don't remember a whole bunch, but I just remember, like, how strange it was, because I hadn't read a whole lot of stuff like it up until that point. I mean, I was probably 18, so I think it's a cool book for an 18-year-old to read when you're kind of questioning the world and society that we live in, and why are things structured the way they are. I think Philip K. Dick is a what's the word I'm looking for? Formative writer for that kind of mindset,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I want to read more PKD, because like I tend to not read the most popular thing that everybody else will read by a certain writer, and I'll go and read something else.
You're a bit of a hipster.
I did a review.
I am a bit of a hipster, yeah.
I mean, I did a review of A Scanner Darkly a few years ago, which was terrible. I'm gonna redo it at some point, because it's just me rambling, and I'm just like, good lord, just stop, because I hate watching myself. Now I'll sometimes watch like old podcasts because I enjoy listening to conversations, but aside from that, I'm like, oh man, no, shut up.
Yeah, editing is painful. I think at least for me, I've been learning when I film a video to pause appropriately.
Turn on.
The pause, whenever I'm not sure what to say, because it's easier to edit than to just ramble on. Because the first couple of videos that we filmed, and like, oh my god, they were difficult to edit, because we were just talking, and it was like run-on sentences that never ended, so you couldn't like properly cut them like into something coherent. And
it
was awful.
Or I make bullet points on my videos, so that's kind of... My buddies are like, God, how do you do it in one take? I'm like, bullet points, man. Bullet points. Plus my
Oh, you do
editing
it
is-
in...
my,
Yeah.
my editing is not sophisticated enough to, you know. I can't be Daniel Green like, yo guys, you know.
Oh, I can't do that shit. No. I actually, I kind of don't like that as well. Like, I just think that's all distraction from what I'm actually listening to.
I like it sparingly.
I like it sparingly because to use it for comedic effect, I think stuff like that can be really funny, and I think Daniel Green is a really funny person. When he does that sparingly.
I enjoy like Anthony Fantano. I don't know if you've ever watched him, but like he'll do this thing called "This Is Bad," and every time he goes and he just goes like, "Well, this is bad," and it just blows up, and I love that. I've tried replicating that in some of the videos I have edited, but I don't have Adobe right now, so I'm just kind of
yeah. Well, I don't really prepare much for the videos. I will have sort of a general outline in my head of what I want to say, and then I kind of ramble to the camera until I form a coherent sentence, and then that's what I use in the edit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that as well. Although there's been a couple of videos that I've tried to film and I didn't have a super clear idea going in what I wanted to say, and it was completely unusable. And it just ended up saying like, you know what, let's not do this. Let's sit on this and record it again in a month when I know what I want to say.
Yeah, I know. The other day I was like looking at, or actually it was yesterday because me and Carlos were talking. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go check their. I haven't heard from them in a while, and then I'm like, he just made a video like 4 days ago. Like, how did I miss this? And then
that algorithm ain't working.
I know, it's stupid. I mean, I don't really care about the algorithm. I'm just like, I'm gonna cover what I want, and if people like it, I'm so glad. But you know, I do get annoyed that people don't like. I do sometimes get annoyed. I'm like, I want to get some comments. Like, I like interacting with people.
The key is to one day read a manga, make a video.
Trick people into thinking that you cover manga.
They're like, oh no, they've sold out. No, but
yeah. But no, I also don't want to I don't want that to come across like I was talking shit about people who edit a lot. Like, I think there are people that are really good at that.
Oh no, that's impressive. I'm like, I wish I could do that, but I can't. I don't know.
I kind of meant for my own videos. Like, I it's not something that I'm really into because I'm more into long form conversation. Like, if this person has something to say, wouldn't necessarily need all that much in terms of editing or fancy stuff. If something is used for comedic effect, that's cool because I mean,
yeah, I'm more of like an Alan, I don't watch Alan as much as I probably should. I watch Jimmy though, because I like watching his stuff.
Alan is very good at peppering in little edits, little bits just for comedic effect.
That Mulan song stuck in my head though when I watched it.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan. You know. I've thought about getting him on the show, and I was like, because I have him on my Discord, and I'm like, I texted him the other day. I was like, hey, Alan. Or, I didn't say, hey, Alan. I was like, hello, how are you doing? Like, how's your day going? Just trying to, like, break the ice. And he just went, hello. And I was like, oh. I was like, oh. Like, no, I did talk. No, I was watching one of his streams. I'm like, I was kind of intimidated by your hello. And he's like, oh, no, it's okay. I'm just busy. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like,
he told me because I messaged him basically asking for permission to make the video that we made, going like, is it cool if I like parody your style and like kind of take the piss a little bit, but just in a loving way? And he never saw it, so I was like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't make this video. And then I deleted the message. And I asked on his Discord, and like I asked Evie, because I know Evie's really close with Alan, and she was like, yes, he would think it's hysterical. So I messaged Alan again going, yo, I'm gonna make this video. And he was like, yeah. But
I mean, I get he's a
But
busy
he-
guy, you know, when you get bigger on
Yeah.
YouTube, there's probably like dozens of people who are like, hey, Alan, how's it going? And he's just like, oh,
Yeah, he mentioned
yeah.
like he doesn't get the notifications of like private messages as well. So like, it's better to just stick to the Discord.
This is sort of
Server
a
group.
weird aside, just real quick. But did you notice like in some of his older videos, like his teeth, like there's like his two teeth right there are kind of like up somehow.
Yeah, I think I don't know. He got I don't know.
You might have gotten them done.
Might have got them done or
Yeah,
something.
I
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Might come on and be like, don't talk about my teeth. Got them fixed. But you know, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I like Alan a lot. He's very enthusiastic, and when he talks about the stuff that he's into, and that he's very unapologetic about the stuff that he's into, and he's got me to buy so many books, which is kind of why we wanted to do the month of Alan thing, and because we were gonna do that before we even had a Booktube channel. There you go.
I mean, that's why I got this, but I'd also wanted to read this for a while. He just gave me the push to go, you know.
Yeah, he's good at just hyping you up for it, you know.
Yeah, like there's like
He
there's
also
books that
he also got me interested in reading the Sharp books, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'll read that.
Oh, by Bernard
Oh,
Cornwell.
yeah.
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 I haven't read those, but I want to. Now that I saw his video.
There was an old TV show on the BBC when I was a kid. A Sharp TV show. It was like always on like BBC 4 on a Tuesday afternoon, and it's Sean Bean, who plays Sharp, Boromir, Ned Stark.
He didn't die in it.
No, he doesn't die in it. No.
spoiler alert.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Because
Yeah.
I had the same thought.
Yeah.
it's like a meme
I
now.
think-
like
I
that was a
think that's
meme
how
even
he
before
made his
memes
name.
were things. Like he's always dying in the movies he's in.
He was the original meme. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's good. I enjoy his, but yeah, I want to read Sharp at some point. It sounds like something I would enjoy because I like history, so I'm like, yeah.
Cool.
And apparently Bernard Cornwell still. I thought he was dead for some reason. He sounded like a dead guy. I don't know. I guess, but he's
Writing
not-
all these historical books, old guy,
Oh,
right?
he's-
He's,
Nope, he's kicking. He's still kicking. I'm like, oh.
yeah.
I also saw.
Yeah,
oh.
I've been aware of Bernard Cornwell for a really, really long time because my dad read a lot of Cornwell when I was a kid, but I've never read him. I've only watched the Last Kingdom show, but I've never read Cornwell.
Yolanda, I saw you covered Daisy Jones and the Six, which I know that a lot of people have also covered on Booktube for what I guess this is one of those books. I guess I don't know, but I've heard that's good.
Yeah, it is. It's funny because it's such a popular book and the review did terribly. But I think that's just book reviews. Yeah, so it was my second Taylor Jenkins read, and I
Excuse me.
bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. I think I liked the other one that I read more, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I found it a similar structure in, somebody, or in the case of Daisy Jones, several people like telling a story about the past, and like famous people, and like, from like the golden age of either rock and roll or Hollywood. So they're quite similar, and I think Evelyn Hugo landed better with me. Like the characters felt, not that they were more realistic, but they just connected with me more, I guess. But Daisy Jones was still really fun. Like, I think none of it was super surprising or shocking in any way. Like kind of the story and lifestyle you'd expect from, a rock and roll band in the 60s and 70s. So I still read it in like 36 hours though. Like she's an incredibly compelling storyteller.
She's a really good writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is also a really great book.
Yeah, I
I know,
preferred
that's
that one.
If they have Barnes and Noble, I'm like, I should pick it up. because
Yeah.
I'm big movie buff, so I'm like, I gotta pick this up, but not
Yeah,
today.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Like Evan and Hugo.
So I'm always in like the fantasy and like crime sections at the bookstore I go to.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah, it's a good both of them, like Daisy Jones and Evan and Hugo, are good palate cleansers between like big fantasy books and stuff, because I find them so readable. Like you it's compelling from page one and extremely easy to fall into and to read, and it's very easy on the mind as well. There's no like big world building and like loads of names to remember or anything like that. So they're really fun books, and she's definitely a good writer. So yeah, would recommend.
I mean, yes, that's. I'm just speaking word salad now, but also you guys covered The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence, who was another author I've wanted to try for a while, but it's funny. I'm friends with him on my Facebook because we're in similar groups, and I had a strange encounter with him once where he was a bit intoxicated, and and we were like talking about, and he was like mentioning, like he was talking about writing, and I was just like, okay, I just said hello, how are you doing? And he was just kind of like, you can do better than that, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, this kind of rubs me the wrong way, so I'm like, all right. Yeah.
A few people have had experiences like that. Yeah, I don't know if he I don't know.
I don't know if it's just he's just like he likes messing with people or something. I don't know.
I
But
think so.
it was such a weird thing, and I was like, okay.
I'm in his Discord actually. I joined his Discord, and he is kind of just like that, but it's not. But it's not like serious. But he'll just have conversations with people, and he's just like, he is fucking with you,
And he's just,
then,
he's all like, oh, I've been drinking. I'm like, oh, okay. I was just gonna say, I know you have I have a disabled daughter. I have autism. I thought that was really touching. And he was just like, whatever. Yeah. I was like, he's like, but you gotta work on your intros, man. I'm like, dude. I don't...
Did you send him some of your own writing as well?
Oh no, I haven't.
No?
I was just
because he's actually really like open with that. He offers to like read your shit, because I was telling him once that like, oh, I have this idea and blah blah blah, and I want to work on it and blah blah blah. He's like, oh, whenever you have actual words on the page, send them to me. But he's pretty funny about it. But he's sound. He is very direct though. Like he's and I think it does rub people up the wrong way, and sometimes he can be a bit cantankerous.
Nah.
But
yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure he's like a cool guy, but that was just a weird experience. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
This sounds good, baby.
Yeah.
Like I haven't talked to him since then, because I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna go, but
Yeah, you're like, I don't know how to approach this situation.
I do want to read his books at some point. The Book That Wouldn't Burn sounded really interesting. Because
He's very his book, the way he writes just really works for me. Again, it's that like, there's also that sense of humor that I really like, sparsed in there. But just the way he writes really ticks my boxes. It just hits. I also really like the Broken Empire trilogy, which I know
I saw you
is
did a video on that. I haven't watched it, but I've heard that series is interesting.
Interesting is one way to put it, yeah.
I heard it gets really messed up pretty quickly. I'm like, oh man, okay.
It's quite messed up, yeah. But I think it has a reputation online. I think a lot of maybe some of the bigger channels have covered the first book and maybe have painted it a certain way, which of course the first book is very aggressive, shall we say, but I think there's a lot of underlying reflection in the whole trilogy that that I like. It worked for me. I understand that series not working for most people, but it's really good.
Oh yeah, Alan
It
also.
did.
Sorry. What were you gonna say?
Oh
Yolanda?
no, I was just gonna say that what you're saying, it really shines in like the second book onwards, because if you take the first one in isolation,
Absolutely.
it feels like it might be a more straightforward, let's see how fucked up this can get kind of story, but it's a lot deeper than that. So like I think it's fair, like if people have that experience with the first one and don't continue, like it's not like they're wrong, it's just that it's not the whole picture.
It is a trilogy, so I'm more likely to try that than than like a Malazan or Wheel of Time.
Oh god, Wheel of Time.
It's funny, like, because there's
because I'm hesitant to try a longer series unless it's like Game of Thrones, where I'm like, okay, this is pretty good, I'm gonna read this.
Yeah.
Or something else, I don't know. I haven't tried Dresden. I've heard Dresden's more like standalone-y, so yeah.
I get a vibe from Dresden that's just like, oh, this is like a long-running crime series with a central detective.
That's what I've heard. So I'm like, oh, okay, I could probably do that.
Yeah, and so many people love Dresden. I'm like, oh, you would love this genre called crime fiction. You may have heard of it. There are a lot of these
kind of his take on like noir, but it's also like wizards and werewolves and stuff.
Yeah, and a bit of Hellblazer in there probably.
I think what intimidates me, intimidating is maybe not the right word, but what holds me off on Dresden is that a lot of people that love it seem to agree that it gets good, like, 8-9 books in? And I'm just like, that's way too much of a commitment.
Yo, I hate when people do that, like, when it's the get to the second book, it gets way better. I'm like, dude, like, you really want me to go through this that I don't like to get to something that I might like? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not a very good sales pitch.
It's not a good sales pitch. That's a lazy sales pitch, man.
You should read 11 books and then it gets really good.
No! Like, I've had friends who complain about that. I'm like, dude, oh man, I get that. I'm like, dude, I don't want to trudge through, like, books I'm probably not going to like to get to something I might. Like, come on.
I think that's also just, like, inflated perception because we operate in a bubble. Like, we watch Booktube, we watch everything that people are saying, and I know, like, you know, we can be flippant about whatever, you know, oh, people's opinions are this and that, whatever, but it's a bubble, you know, and I think just trying at least to separate your own expectations from what people say is a good way to go about it. But we're not robots. We are inherently affected by what we are exposed to. So, like,
now, if it's something like First Law, where it's like a trilogy, I'm like, okay, I can do that, you know, and I
yeah,
get it.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I see why people like this. And then Gentlemen Bastards, I'm like, that was really good. I see why people like this. Why isn't the fourth book out yet? The family's putting out novellas soon, so I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Oh yeah, I read that. Yeah, that's a start, I guess.
That's a start.
Yeah, I know he's had like personal. But to be fair, I know he's had like personal issues in the last couple years. So I mean, like, I get it, you know.
Yeah, totally. Like they're all also just. All I'll say
is reading Gentlemen Bastards is like drinking like a nice wine and like getting some cheese and you eat it. It's delicious. It's like that.
Nice. That is a sales pitch.
That is a sales pitch.
It's like after you had a really nice meal and you have like a drink and you're like, yeah, you know? It's like that.
I need to read.
You've sold me on that series now.
It was that easy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention...
I was like, oh, well, I'll get to it at some stage. It's never really been high on my list. Now I'm like, I'm gonna pick this up right now.
Though, I mean, also Alan got me intrigued by The Great Coats. I haven't read that. But he's like,
so good.
This book rocks. I'm like, alright, I'll check this out at some point. Sounds interesting.
They're really fun. I've read the first two, and I want to finish the series this year. Hopefully, we'll see.
Well,
I
about
don't want to
fake he is
overpromise.
about like about like anime, or he's like, I don't read the manga. I watch the anime, and I'm like, dude, so close.
Yeah, I read the first one of Greycoats. This is a habit of mine again of like, oh, I'll read the first book and then I'll go off and I'll read something else now because the brain craves variety,
Yeah.
and then I just do nothing but variety and I never finish stuff.
So stressful.
Yeah, yeah. Look, my voice on Booktube will be the one who starts all the series and never finishes them, and I'm okay with that. But I really like the first book. The only problem I had with the first book is that the gold, I think, of that series is the three main lads together, like what the Falchio, Kest, and Brasti. I think those three together, their banter, their chemistry, the way he writes their dialogue as a friend group is really, really strong, and he splits them up for half of the first book, and I just think, nah, you need to, you can't like get rid of your.
You'll really
your
enjoy
goal.
Gentleman Bastards then, because the friendship in that is really good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
there you
main.
go.
My mom.
Hello.
Back for babysitting, yeah. Oh, well, you can see right there, or there. Those are my first law books. Just
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
Orbit's a really big publishing thing, I guess. I don't know. I have like Rage of Dragons over there, and
Have you read Rage of Dragons?
not yet. Want to.
Oh.
Though after I read Black Leopard, Red Wolf, I'm like, I'm hoping this isn't like the crappier version of that book, because Black
Yeah,
Leopard, Red Wolf was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to read Ride to Dragons, and case in point of like you saying that we're influenced by our environment, because I thought it was really interesting, like the African-inspired like setting world. I think is something that's really cool that I haven't read in fantasy really. So it was really high on my list, and then I've heard some and read some reviews like talking about how it's relentless action, and that's just not something that I generally am super into. Like plot, sure, like plot driven, sure, but I too much action exhausts me. Like I found that a little bit with like the middle bits of Faithful and the Fallen. I love Faithful and the Fallen, but some of it I was like, this is almost too fast paced for me. And if Rage of Dragons is like this relentless action, I was like, oh god, is this not going to be for me? So I've pushed it down my list, which is unfair because I'm still excited to get to that book.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. I'm
I
in
remember
the same
learning
boat.
about John Gwynne long before I even knew what Booktube was. I had a friend of mine who was reading Malice. I'll never forget this. I was in class. It was about junior year of high school, and there he was. He was just reading it, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. He's like, oh, yeah, it's called Malice. It's really cool. And then I see his son's made a YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, my gosh. Call my buddy. I'm like, dude, you will not believe this.
Yeah, I really love their channel actually. Those lads are hilarious together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got a lot of recommendations from them as well actually. I also like that they read pretty broadly. They read quite broadly actually, and they've built a little audience for themselves, which is cool.
I also just like I want to give props whatever to their channel name. That is the best channel name on Booktube. When I first saw that, I was like, that is genius.
Yeah, it's a fantastic channel name.
They had the opportunity and they took it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I mean, you guys got Storytoob. I'm like, oh, I like that. I like the tube.
Yeah, I like the tube. That's right. The only reason for that is because in Ireland we would say YouTube, like tube as in CH. I don't know why. We just pronounce it that way. But then in America with there's
a lot of funny ways Irish people say things. Like there's one guy I'm trying to get on this show. His name's Daniel, and he pronounced films films. I think that's
Oh,
yeah.
awesome. I'm
That's
like,
a
that's
that's a very
I
very
love that.
Irish
I'm like, dude, it's great.
film. Yeah,
I'm
that
like,
is a
dude.
very Irish thing.
I'm like, dude, that's oh man, I love that. And he's like, oh well. Yeah, no, I'm hoping to have him on this next month, but you know, we'll see. But yeah,
Cool.
yeah, no, it's good stuff. Is there anything you're planning on reading in the future? I know you're doing like, are you still doing Month of Alan, or was that like a long time ago? That's over now.
Until tomorrow.
Until tomorrow. Well, I'm.
Oh,
Yeah, I need to. I am almost 100 pages into The Company by KJ Parker, and then once I finish that book, we'll do our wrap up. And when
Yeah.
you finish Senlin,
I'll
so
finish Senlin tomorrow.
we might run into July by a couple of days because we'll be busy and blah blah blah. So I haven't had much of a chance to read too much the last week. So
It's
yeah,
been
one of the
busy.
things that kind of annoys me about fantasy is like some of the author names. Like there's like R.J. Barker, and then there's K.J. Parker.
KJ
I'm like,
Parker.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, dude, come on.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. And then all the titles, all the like typical fantasy titles. Like the other day, I just read Justice of Kings by Richard Swan, and I really liked it. And I was like, oh, I need to read Tyrant's Throne. And you were like, Tyrant's Throne is not
That's
the sequel.
Greatcoats.
That's that. No, I didn't say. I said Tyrant's Law, and you were like, Tyrant's Law is Daniel Abraham, and I was like, oh no, it's Greatcoats. What's the Richard Swan one? And like, it's 3 different series that we own.
I
And
just,
in the middle.
it is like, dude.
And all of them have tyranny or tyrant, and I'm like, that is just not
Yeah.
user friendly.
The something of kings.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. How many something of kings are there? Like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah, there's something of Kings written by initial insert normal surname.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, oh lord. I am glad that when Philip Chase put out his book, he just called it The Way of Edan, and it's his full name. And I'm like, okay, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're all the Edan trilogy, and Edan is in all 3 titles. That is very easy to remember. Thank you, Philip.
Yeah, so I was talking to him the other day, because I had him on this show here. I'm like,
Yeah.
So are they all coming out this year? And he's like, yep. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you're doing a Southern Reach type of thing, huh? And he's like, I guess so. I don't think he had ever heard of Southern Reach, but
He's a machine. He's a machine. Like fair play to him.
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's like same thing. He puts out all the books in the same year, which I'm like, how does he do it? He's like, it took 18 years. I don't recommend it as a tax thing, or what? He said something like that. He's like, I don't recommend it, but it was fun. Like, all right.
I guess once he had them ready, he was like, might as well just put them out. It's funny because like I got the first one when it came out, was it March, and then I didn't get to actually reading it until like May, or like late April into May when I actually read it, and which is still like right after it comes out, right? And now suddenly the second one is already out. I'm like, oh my god, this is moving so fast.
He's like, hey guys, second book's out. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. And I was thrown off. And I haven't gotten any of them yet, but I'm like, I'll try them. I'll definitely put them on the list.
Yeah,
Never ending.
I need to...
So long. Probably gonna die before I finish any of them. All of them. But, you know.
Yeah, it's
That's the goal. Yeah, that's the goal. Keep reading the TBR till we die.
That is encouraging.
Yeah, gonna finish every YouTube video now that way. Of like, let's continue reading until we die, and then just like smile really broadly. Yeah.
Is this an intro for one of your videos? Like I watched Jimmy's review for Lies of Locke Lamora a few months back when I was reading it, and he was just like, you know, I love his outro. He just goes, all right, and he does his outro, and he's like, keep turning the page, or else. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. It turned ominous really fast. You know.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Yeah.
Jimmy a lot.
Yeah, no, I enjoy Jimmy. I asked him, I'm like, because he said he used to be a wrestler, so I'm like, were you like a WWE guy? Did you... I'm like, did you wrestle professionally, or was it like an amateur thing? He's like, oh no, I did some professional stuff. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he was a pro. He was a full-on pro, like touring the States and stuff.
Like,
I think he went.
Wikipedia page? He's like, I don't think so.
We can make one. Yeah, he worked for one of the bigger promotions over in the States, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Now he's in, apparently, I think he's in like the DC area. I'm kind of jealous of, because I've heard Politics and Prose is a great bookstore.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't know it, but yeah.
I've seen some of their, because I like watching like talks with the author and whatnots, and that they have them over there. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm like a weird nerd for that stuff. I like.
Same.
I like watching authors talk about their stuff.
100%. Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing on Booktube. Is just the long discussions, and usually with the authors as well. So yeah.
Or like know, I saw one video of Cormac McCarthy like talking about science. I'm like, oh okay, I'll watch this.
He's not the easiest interviewee either.
No, he's not. Oh my gosh, I watched one he did with a scientist. His Cross. That was agonizing to watch because he's barely talking and the dude's just like trying to get. Everyone's like, oh man, he took over the whole interview. I'm like, motherfucker, dude isn't even saying he's barely saying anything.
Yeah. It's like pulling teeth or pulling water from a stone or something. Yeah.
And I'm like, and it also made me concerned because he didn't look that great. He looked kind of like, old. It sounds terrible, but it's like, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. Guy was 90 or 80, 89 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. He died. It made me sad, but he lived a long life at least.
Yeah.
Great writer.
Yeah. I really enjoy some of those interviews or discussions of authors interviewing other authors, especially if they're not the same genre. There's one of George R. R. Martin interviewing Lee Child, isn't it, or is it the other way around? Yeah.
George R. R. Martin interviewing Lee Child. Yeah, that was a really good one. That's
a really good one. Yeah, Lee Child is actually really interesting to listen to and make.
Read the Reacher books at all?
Yeah.
I love the Reacher books. Oh
yeah, didn't you guys talk about it in your crime fiction episode?
Yeah,
that's right.
More than likely, yeah.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
I enjoy is another one you can kind of just skip around. Like I read the one that the movie was based on, and I enjoyed that one.
You can read them in any order, and you're fine.
I think there's only a couple in the middle.
It does bug me a little bit because I like reading it in chronological order.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can read them in that, and you'll probably pick up on more things that way. But they're written in a way that you don't need to do that.
There's a couple in the middle that I think it's 4 that are one arc that one should read in order. But everything else doesn't really matter. But I'm the same. I prefer. I don't know. I feel like even if they're written in a way to, catch you up, or you can just pick up anything. I just have this feeling that maybe there's going to be a reference or something. I'm going to appreciate it more if you read it in publication order. But
George R. R. Martin is a huge fan of Reacher books. Yeah, when he interviewed Lee Child, he told him that he was like, "Oh, I picked up one of your books recently, Lee, and then I picked up another one, and then I picked up another one." And I just kept going.
Yeah, it's a really good interview. It also gave me a lot more appreciation for the Reacher books and how Lee Child approaches writing them. You look at them from the outside and it's okay, pretty simple, straightforward, one detective kind of figure, right? That solves some kind of mystery in every book, and but there's a reason they're so popular, and there's a reason that the character of Reacher is so popular and so alluring in some way.
He's a really smart guy, and everything is very, very intentional.
It's very intentional. Yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing.
Reacher.
Lee Child. Well, I mean, the character is super intelligent, I guess, because Lee Child is super intelligent. But yeah, everything that he puts in those books is extremely intentional. But then he's also very open about the fact that, look, I just make shit up. So people were like, oh, how do you know all this about the U.S. military? It's like an American read this, or American wrote this. And he's just like, yeah, that part I kind of made up. But I think the construction of the character himself, and how the character processes information and deals with the external world is all very, very intentional. And it's a little bit of like a wish fulfillment series, because he doesn't have a lot of possessions. He wanders around. He's got the freedom to wander around, and he's competent. He's extremely competent in a world full of incompetence. So, like, if you read those books, if you've had a shit week in work or something, and you go home and you read a Reacher book, it's just extremely satisfying. So, like, and he talks about this, and he's very much aware of what makes the books attractive, which is interesting as well, you know. So, yeah, I watched that interview that he did with George R. R. Martin. It's actually really fun, really fun.
Yeah.
Check that out. I mean, I've seen a couple of George R. R. Martin conversations. He did one with like Stephen King and one, which I really like that one. He did one with Marlon James, because I really enjoyed Black Leopard, Red Wolf, and I basically tell anyone who's in my general direction to go read that book. I enjoyed that conversation as well.
Yeah.
It is not an African Game of Thrones, by the way, because people who call it that, I'm like, it's not. It's really not.
Everything gets the Game of Thrones comparison.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if you guys have seen or have read Black Leopard, Red Wolf, but it's a fantastic book, and they have said it's African Game of Thrones. It's not. So just letting you, it's a very different book.
I'll make note of that. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Black Leopard, Red Wolf. Cool.
Yeah. I have it up here. I don't want to pull it out though.
That's cool. I'll remember that. Or I'll come back and refer back to the video when I upload it.
Yeah, it's probably gonna take a few weeks. So I have a couple on the backlog.
Cool.
But yeah.
Cool.
Well, it's good. It's good stuff.
Nice, man.
Yeah, no, I don't really know if I have anything else to talk about. It's almost been 2 hours, and it's as long as I like to go. So,
cool. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So, it's been fun. Is there anything else you guys are planning on doing? Any videos you're planning on putting out soon, as of the making of this?
Well, since we're talking about crime fiction, I'm chipping away at my Don Winslow videos. I just filmed the one about the Cartel trilogy, and I talk about Savages as well. So I have like 3 more Don Winslow videos planned, just kind of breaking down his bibliography, and he's just announced that he's retiring from writing. So
what?
Yeah.
I'm going to use that. I know, yeah.
From writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I have like hope that he's going to regret that in 5 years and be like, hey, never mind, I wrote another book. But for now, he says he's retiring, and like the next book that's going to come out, like it's the 3rd one in his Danny Ryan trilogy, and it's going to be his last ever book, he says. So this is now going to be a homage series. So I'm kind of considering just starting to reread his entire bibliography, because I've read all of his books except for like his latest one.
I reckon those are the videos that are going to be coming out for the next while from Storytoob. I need to do the modern sci-fi, I reckon, and then I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll just do book reviews for shit that I'm reading. This ain't that serious. We don't plan things around here.
Yeah, we're doing a no fantasy, or low fantasy at least, July, because
Yeah.
we read a lot of fantasy in the month of Alan, like months before. So
Yeah.
I kind of feel like you're in
Don't wanna
like
get
an
burned out.
American.
I did that last year after I completed
Yeah.
the Baslag books.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I
taking a
need
break
a
from fantasy, and then I mostly read crime fiction and horror during that time.
yeah. I need a break, and I'm actually lining up a bunch of American classics. I'm in a Yankee mood. So I got some Steinbeck on deck, and then I'm gonna do Lonesome Dove, I think, and I'm gonna do True Grit.
True Grit's good.
So cool,
You know
yeah.
what's also
So
good? All the Pretty Horses
Yeah.
by Cormac McCarthy.
I might read that.
I have the Border trilogy there. I read a McCarthy this month. I think next month I might do Child of God, because I haven't read Child of God.
Oh boy. That's
Yeah, I know that's a tough one, but
I'm doing Suttree this upcoming month, so that'll be fun. That's probably his thickest boy.
that is thick. That is a thick boy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like I'm reading this book right now. That's it's
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Cool.
But also, if you like American comics, read this. It's really good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Though I keep getting distracted recently because there's been a bunch of stuff going on. It's not like I've been busy or anything. It's just like I have like so much stuff that I'm doing right now.
Oh, Sam.
It's like
Same.
it's ridiculous.
Sam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
very
yeah.
relatable.
Do you have like social media? I know you have like Goodreads, but do you have like Twitter?
We don't have
You
don't
Twitter.
have Twitter? You're not about the Twitter game.
I'm
Sorry.
scared of Twitter.
I'm
Twitter,
extremely lazy. I'm extremely lazy when it comes to social media. I have an Instagram, but I don't really use it. Like, I don't update there at all.
Yeah, I created an Instagram specifically, like for Storytoob, like my Storytoob, like to share book stuff specifically.
Yeah.
I haven't used it a whole lot, but I do have it. I think it's Yolanda.Storytoob or -Storytoob or something like that. I should know this.
Yeah, if you want to follow us there, I'm sure you can follow us there, but I don't think there's anything actually there.
Yolanda.Storytoob.
No posts. Wonderful.
No
yeah.
posts,
There you
yeah.
go.
But there you go.
If you want to follow me on something, I'd say Goodreads is your best bet. It's
Yeah.
linked in our video descriptions. If you want to, Storytoob on YouTube. That's where you can find us.
Yeah.
That's it.
Storytoob and Goodreads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We're not very good at the social
You're
media.
not really good at the social media thing, but that's okay. It's all right.
We'll get there.
No, we won't.
I'm really bad at social media myself, though. I mostly use
Discord. You can find us on Discord. We are in various servers. We actually just launched with a bunch of other booktubers who created channels in 2023. We launched a new Discord server called An Unexpected Party. I will try to link it.
Yeah, I'd like to get involved in that. See what you guys are.
Yeah,
I want to
cool.
get involved in the party.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we'll send you the invite after this, and then we can link it in this video, and we can link it in other videos. We haven't actually said it at all, but it was just the last few days, so
Yeah, I don't think we've actually launched it yet.
nah. But I also had no part in the creation of this. This is how lazy I am with these things. But anyway, we'll send it over to you.
All right,
And,
but
yeah.
this has been fun. I enjoyed this.
It's super fun, man.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It was really cool.
Yeah, thanks for taking like 2 hours out of your day.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's been Britton's Hangout Hour. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, or not Instagram. I don't barely use Instagram anymore. But you can find me on Goodreads and Letterboxd, where I write reviews, which are probably more coherent than the ones I put on YouTube. But as I like to say,
Written reviews are always more clear.
Or Discord if you want to friend me on there. So yeah, enjoy that. All right, take care,
Cool.
everyone.